And now, here's a guy who has never won a congeniality award at any radio station, anywhere.
I will fight you in the street.
It's the Eric Zane Show podcast with your host, Eric Zane.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Well, we meet again. Ash Wednesday. Today is February 26th. The Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily podcast getting you caught. Hold on, I screwed that up. A daily podcast getting you caught up on news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. This is the Eric Zane Show podcast. By the way, that little sentence there that gives you an encapsulation of what this all is about, I did not come up with that. I always give credit to the audience. I can't tell you how many times I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, you should try this. And then I'm like, good idea, bad idea. I like that idea. I had mentioned this before. One of the audience members, and I always forget who, but, I'm acknowledging you because I've incorporated it into the show. I should do a better job at remembering the names. Hey, Zane, we got a suggestion. Remember us. Somebody suggested and said, that's your brand. It's a daily podcast talking about the news. It was about those same words. And I go, all right, yeah, I like that. So I kind of rewrote it. And there you go. Again, another perfect example of how if I don't have you influencing what I'm doing, holy crap. No, I don't listen to all of it. First of all, I completely disregard whenever anybody attacks me. And offers advice in an attacking, horrible way. I am a sensitive individual, and I will weep. Okay? You can't do it that way. But I seem to have all of the assholes filtered out. We've got a great, great bunch here. Just the way I like it. Lean and mean. You need to know that a little bit later on, in just under 1 hour, my dad will join us for another rip-roaring edition of Dear Meathead, which we do live. And I just basically push a couple buttons, and there he is. So I've got a couple of questions here. Some people reached out to me. Mark in New Orleans, Louisiana. And not to mention, I think it was Melinda in Nashville who reached out to me, too. If not, I do have those questions ready to go. But if you have a question for Dad, please email me, eric@ericzaneshow.com. That is the easiest way that I can get to it, by looking at the email. And it doesn't have to be funny. You don't have to try. I've said this before. Limit your words. If you have a short question, what that does is if you write a book, I'm going to have to self-edit it because I don't like to bombard him with I like to keep it simple, as you would imagine. So whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be very, very involved. It can be very, very simple. In fact, I had one question that I'll just give you a preview of. It's like, oh, yeah, hey, we just tore down a pool in the backyard. I think this was from Melinda, and there's a bunch of sand there. But now we don't know what to do with the sand. So even that is simple enough. And all we need to do is get his feet moving, and hilarity and awesomeness will ensue because he's the best. Okay, so that is coming up a little bit later on, right here on the podcast. Occasionally I'll write a note down, and I don't know what that means. Oh, I know what that means. I'll come back to that. I'm trying something new today. For the longest time, I've had to do it where, first of all, on Facebook, there's 2 cameras going. And something has happened. For the longest time, when using the Mevo, which was the first camera I used, the Mevo, it isn't the Mevo's fault. Facebook, for the longest time, would not allow you to put out material onto Facebook and at the same time YouTube and Twitter. They wouldn't allow it. And I don't know why that was, but so for the longest time when I would do a Mevo video, I would only do it on Facebook. Then I got this new camera set up, and I started to use the different camera that was provided for me by Blue Frost IT. And that allowed me to use that camera for Facebook and the Mevo for Twitter and YouTube. Well, by accident yesterday, I ended up hitting a wrong button, and the Mevo version of the podcast that I put out to Twitter and YouTube somehow went out to Facebook as well. So I don't know if there was a change made in how Facebook does business, or I have no idea how it happened, but the feed went out on video from the Mevo to Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, which is fine. So I had two feeds going on to Facebook, because then I took a look at it, because the normal camera that Blue Frost set up, I put out on Facebook like I normally do. So I'm looking, I go, why is there two versions of my video up, one from the Mevo and one from the webcam? I was greatly confused, and I still am. But today I knew that it was going to, that I could possibly do that, so I actually deliberately did it this way. So on Facebook, you will see two video versions of this. Now, I will say that the Mevo is a clearer picture. It's sharper, but when you utilize the Mevo, there's a slight, barely audible echo. I know this, so pick your poison. Just a little show note, pulling back the curtain there. As always, Facebook brought to you by Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid. Twitter, follow me on Twitter, the Blue Frost IT Twitter handle, at Eric Zane Show. Instagram, that's sponsored too. Mario Flores Lakeshore Team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Follow me on Instagram, just search Eric Zane Show. YouTube, that's not sponsored. YouTube, search Eric Zane Show. So there's 1,000,001 ways you can get this podcast live every day at around 8 a.m. We got started like 8:02 today. And that allows you the visual element. And then, of course, the downloadable audio on-demand podcast available at ericzaneshow.com. Click free podcast, click subscribe, and then subscribe. That's all you do. Please, please, please subscribe to the podcast, the audio podcast, and throw 5 stars at me if you could. And I don't even care if you don't even listen to that. I just want you to subscribe to it. Some of you prefer to listen to the downloadable content. Some of you prefer to get it live. We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. That's great. It doesn't matter to me. It does not matter to me how you actually get it, but just as long as you do subscribe to that freebie podcast, the audio version. Okay. All right. Tell me if I was it was okay for me to be concerned about something going on. First of all, I've noticed this. When it comes to parents these days, very rarely will you see a parent speak through gritted teeth at the kids. And I find that shocking, because when I was raising my kids, if my kids did not do what I wanted them to do, or if I knew they were in someone's way, I was very quickly pulling them out of people's way. You know, the old better your kids be seen, not heard. You know, keep them out of people's way. I was always trying to be cognizant of my kids not infringing on people as they live their lives, because kids have a tendency to do that. I'm at the YMCA yesterday. I'm on the treadmill. I'm next to some mom. I only know she's a mom because her kid walked up to the treadmill. Now, in between each treadmill is tops 18 inches of space. The mom says something to the kid. I have no idea. He looks to be first grade, maybe, possibly second grade. Not a big kid at all. Little guy. Now, mom wants to finish her workout. The kid is bored. What do kids do when they're bored? They get in people's way. Now, if it's me and I saw my kid doing this, I'm like a little concerned. I know I was concerned, and while it was going on, and the mom knew I was concerned because I kept turning it around. What's going on here is the kid is now walking laps around mom's treadmill, which there's 4 sides. There's 2 long sides, 2 short sides. He's walking all the way around it in laps while like eating a sucker. Now, this isn't great because at some point he's going to be between me and her in that little space. I've got a bag on the floor. He's got to step over it. And it's just, that isn't a place where you want high traffic volume in between treadmills. They're both moving. Now, my concern is, first of all, me. If he falls, which he's probably going to trip, I'm going down. And then it's my problem. And I don't want that. So, I mean, I have to keep an eye on him while I'm on the treadmill. And now, I don't have the best balance to begin with. And if I take my eyes off of in front of me and I'm looking to the side now to this kid, I'm kind of like moving all over the actual belt. And, you know, you get too far to one side on the belt, you're going to hit a stationary bit of apparatus and you're going to, it's all over. I mean, you're going to be a YouTube video and everybody's going to laugh at you, or worse, you're going to get injured. So I'm like, oh, shit. So the kid's going around, and I keep, like, looking at him. And Mom senses that I'm moving my head. She can see it out of the side of her, and she's like, oh, boy. And I think she gets the idea that it's not okay for that kid to be, like, wandering around. So she starts, like, telling him not to. Does he listen? No, wrong. He just keeps going around and around and around. Now, this is where when I was raising my kids, I would like, sit down, go over there, stand here in front of me and don't move, whatever. And I'd say it like that every time. She's like, oh, no, hey, look, so-and-so, yeah, I don't want, can she's like being all calm and woke and shit. And I'm like, you need to like hit him or something because he's not listening to you at this point. So she's not doing that. He's taking advantage of the scenario. He knows he can get away with it. So he keeps doing that shit. Now, then she finally gets the kid to sit down. Now, he's sitting near the back of the treadmill. He's like 8 inches away from the actual belt, which is moving. And all I can picture is him getting bored and sticking his finger right in the belt, and then boom, a finger comes off, it pulls it into the apparatus, there's blood everywhere, the kid's gonna die, and it's gonna be terrible. So I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I can't stand it. I'm like crawling out of my own skin because of this kid. Am I wrong? Am I becoming an old fuddy-duddy? It just seems like too often now, it seems like nobody actually wants to do the right thing when it comes to their kids. Oh, God. Later on in the evening, there was a dad with 2 kids, and they're both, like, fighting, same age group, screaming and yelling, running through the middle of the place. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, come on now. No, don't do that. Like, come on, man. You got to grab these kids by the shirt and throw them around a little bit. Come on. She ended up getting off of the treadmill, thank God, and got her kid away. Man, I really thought something bad was going to happen. We had a debate last night. I didn't watch it. I saw bits and pieces. It was driving me up a wall. All I saw was Biden getting pissed off because he wasn't getting his time. It was one moment in particular when he was getting fussy because they weren't going to him. And they were about to go to commercial, and he just, like, kind of like said, well, yeah, you know, I voted for this bill or something like that. And then they like, thank you. And then they go right to commercial. He was like shut down. I actually felt kind of bad for him at that point. Everybody was gunning for Sanders, man. They are all in. This is like Survivor, the game, because you remember how on like that game show they would always like kind of like form like alliances and packs. Well, it's Sanders versus all of them now. And so he's on the hot seat because he's like leading the charge right now. So South Carolina is big, and Biden thinks he can win it because 60% of that state's black people are Democrats. So there's a bigwig, a black guy in South Carolina who's going to endorse Biden today. So he's hopeful that he can win that, and then off of that momentum, then go into Super Tuesday with, hey, look at me, I just kicked some ass in South Carolina. Bloomberg's not even on the ballot in South Carolina. He's putting all of his eggs in one basket for Super Tuesday. and hoping that he can emerge from that with a strong finish. But Sanders on the hot seat because at some point he referenced freaking Fidel Castro, and I don't know why he does this. He somehow planted his flag, and here's some of the good stuff that Fidel Castro did. It's kind of like that football coach from Grand Valley State University who said, I want to have dinner with Adolf Hitler. So Sanders is on the hot seat over that. There was a couple other things. He did a 60 Minutes interview recently in which he kind of talked himself into a corner and couldn't really put a price tag on what he wanted to do, which obviously is focused on a huge amount of taxation and a huge amount of wealth distribution and an elaborate price setup that doesn't add up. And he couldn't really come up with an answer. So he got beat up about that. We'll see if he holds true on this coming South Carolina deal primary. So, all right. I'm not gonna get into that. I just know what happened. And Biden was what else did he do? Oh, there was one moment when he was talking and he ran out of time and the moderator said, "That's your time," and he stopped. And he actually said, "Why am I stopping? I guess it's my good Catholic upbringing. Nobody else is stopping. I shouldn't stop." He actually said, "Why am I stopping? No one else is." Funny. Coronavirus. All right. The CDC is saying in the U.S., not a matter of if it will become a pandemic, but when. It is going to become a pandemic here in the U.S. Damn it. I'm trying to keep a positive outlook and not falling victim to the fear, but it sure isn't great when they say that, and they're saying that steps should be taken by you and I to have serious type of compromise setups in our day-to-day life. Some people are saying that schools will be affected, work will be affected. They are promoting less human interaction, which means business and life. Okay. So, frankly, doing a podcast from your house is probably the CDC is saying everybody's got to do a podcast now inside your house. They're not really saying that. But, seriously, I'm like, hey, family, come on in. We'll all gather around this table here and do the coronavirus podcast. We can have Stu McAllister in here, and we can catch whatever crazy wayward disease he has. And off we go. And by the way, where's Stu been lately? I haven't heard from Stu in forever. I'm sick and tired of reaching out to people and them not reaching back to me. I mean, shit, door swings both ways. Come on. So that's what they're saying. The mortality rate on coronavirus right now that has to do with a lot of where it's being it's proliferating. So some places don't have health care nearly as strong as ours. No one in the U.S. has died from this yet. And there is not a lot of people. There's been a few dozen people that have it here in the U.S. 400 new cases in China last night. There is a 2% mortality, which that is significantly higher than the mortality rate of the flu. But most experts are saying, don't be alarmed yet. Please don't be alarmed yet. Now, as we speak, there is a drug maker known as Moderna. They are on the front line of readying a vaccine for coronavirus. Buy. Their stock skyrocketed yesterday on the word that they have put it on a fast track as a vaccine against it. I'm like, wait a minute. So basically you just whipped it up that fast? Why didn't we have this ready to go in the first place? I don't know. Maybe a few people had to get sick before they could work on it. But, I have questions about that. This company has shipped vials of this medicine, mRNA-1273, to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases in Bethesda, Maryland. NIAID is what it's known as. That group expects to begin a clinical trial with humans with 20 to 25 healthy subjects by the end of April to evaluate the vaccine's safety and efficacy against infection. This, according to the Wall Street Journal. That marks a 3-month period between vaccine design and human testing, which, you've heard about, we've got a cure for cancer. We begin human testing in 7 decades. How often have we heard something like that? Now, I don't know the ins and outs about drugs and how this works, but apparently there is. How can they fast-track coronavirus but not other things? And why can't we start human testing now, like today? First results becoming available as early as July, according to the report. The quote, going into phase 1 trial within 3 months of getting the sequence is unquestionably the world indoor record. Nothing has ever gone that fast, said the director of the NIAID, Dr. Anthony Fauci. News of the vaccine. The vaccine test sent Moderna's stock price up 19% Tuesday to about $22 a share. Hey, that's not that expensive. You should buy some now. Not a bad idea if you think about it. I mean, if it soars 19% on word that it might triple. Hey, if you got a few $100, drop it on Moderna now. Not only that, you should be buying the shit out of stock because the market is tanked at news of internationally with all of this coronavirus. I'm telling you, right now, buy the shit out of everything. It's going to bounce back. Before you know it, you're going to wind up with some extra cheddar. Other drug makers are also racing to develop vaccines against the coronavirus, including, there's a ton of them. Look it up on your own. I'll link this up in show notes of the Eric Zane Show podcast. The disease has infected more than 80,000 people and killed nearly 3,000. It could take a year for the Moderna vaccine to clear regulatory hurdles and become widely available. But still, though, 1 year, I cannot believe that. It takes that long. Founded in 2010, Moderna develops medicines based on so-called messenger RNA for infectious and rare diseases and more. If it is possible that it's going to work, but we have to wait and see. That's kind of cool, isn't it? The NIAID on Tuesday said it has begun its first clinical trial of the medicine on coronavirus patients. It is the first clinical trial in the U.S. to evaluate an experimental treatment for COVID-19, which is also what it's known as. And in fact, the person participating was an American passenger who was quarantined on the Diamond Princess cruise ship docked in Japan, is participating in the study. Pretty cool. The Open. Pretty cool. The Open is brought to you by, of course, the Kent County Health Department. There actually is information on their website about coronavirus because this is a concern around the world. But as February winds down with Kent County Health Department, as I said, the Open is brought to you by them. They've been focusing on dental health awareness. And I had a interview with Tessa from the Kent County Health Department about fluoride varnishing, teeth varnishing, and that is available free, and they want you to be aware of it. There's 60,000 residents, households in Kent County alone, where a lion's share of this podcast is heard, that drink their water from a well. If that's the case, you might not be getting the fluoride that you need exposed to your teeth. Young children especially need this. So if you qualify, you can get this free. Reach out to the Kent County Health Department. In fact, at ericzaneshow.com, there's a link right on my homepage, right on the sponsor scroll. Kent County Health Department, click on it. It's going to take you right to the dental health page with all of your FAQs, all right? Frequently asked questions. Thank you, Kent County Health Department, for sponsoring the show. TC Paintball. Paintball War number 9, the Spring Break Offensive. If you want in, you must reach out to me, Eric, at ericzaneshow.com. It happens April 9th. This is a matinee event. Starts at 11 a.m., with a pizza party. We're going to have soft drinks, pizza party, getting ready for the spring break offensive. This is the 8th time we've done this. Now, since most of the kids are on spring break at that time, this is a great opportunity for the kids to come on out. And I'd love it if dad and mom or dad gather up the kids in the neighborhood and get to TC Paintball. But you got to let me know, all right? Send me an email, eric@ericzaneshow.com. That is April 9th. It's a Thursday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I want an all-time record for participation. If we can get that, it'll be so much fun to have a 30-on-1 battle royale versus Rick. He did not win the battle royale last time. Some guy who does a podcast in Hudsonville, Michigan, shot his ass. I had help, though. Tom from TC Paintball gave me some awesome advice on how to beat Rick, so I got him now. He's never going to win again. If you want to book a party, though, at TC Paintball, 616-249-8227. That's 616-249-8227. Got a couple pooches here, and, man, I am stoked because Benny and Daisy are really becoming pals. It took a long time, man. We had fights between them. We had injuries between the dogs that had they required medical attention, and they've somehow managed to figure each other out. Somebody suggested that Daisy knew that Benny was sick and was like trying to weed him out, you know, kind of like a pack of wolves or something like that. I'm like, is that a thing? Do they do that? Wasn't that the plot of a movie? Wasn't that World War Z, where the zombies could sense that a person had illness and they wouldn't make him into a zombie? Yeah, because he had heartworm and he had the manifestations from tick-borne kidney disease, which is taken care of now. Both those things are, the heartworm's gone. The tick disease or the kidney disease is regulated by medicine. Daisy loves him now. Makes me so happy. All right. If you're just tuning in on the live, I know that I can't say that regarding the pre-recorded audio podcast, but there are people that are just tuning in on the live, either Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. If you have a question for Dad on Dear Meathead, send it along to eric@ericzaneshow.com. We'll get him on in about 30 minutes. Okay. Now, you remember Jacqueline had a knee rebuild done. And this is the second time this has happened. She had the one knee during high school when she was playing ladies basketball. That happened in Lowell. I'll never forget that one. And then this past summer, she ripped up the other one, both ACLs now. So she had to have the ACL rebuilt. Never forget that. I get the phone call. Everything okay? No, my knee was destroyed. I go, oh, God. Are you sure? Yes. Was it the same type of moment where you knew, like, the last one? She goes, worse. Oh, God. And it was worse. She was right. So she went under the knife. She had that taken care of. Okay, so that ends. Now, well, she's been walking with a limp, and she's been claiming she hasn't been able to straighten it. Well, and it's true. She's not claiming. She can't straighten it. So she's talking to her doc, and he's like, he's got like a real deep voice. Sometimes you can't even hear this guy. His tones are so low you can't even hear him. Doctor, there's something wrong with my knee. He's worse than Justin. Those are all words. You just can't tell. So we get a translator, and the translator says he thinks that your knee has formed, in layman's terms, a ball of scar tissue at a certain spot on the knee that is blocking your knee from extending. So I go, shit. All right. So now we have this kind of like this poverty insurance. And, we just made it through the last one. And I'm like, all right, here's my options. Don't get the surgery. That's terrible. Get the surgery, and we pay it off like we did last one. Now, I don't want to hear anybody say, there you go again, Zane, taking care of your kid. Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, that's what you do. You do take care of your kids. She cannot pay for that surgery. Well, hell, I can't pay for that surgery. But we're going to get it done. And she has to go under the knife again. What they do is they put you under, and then they kind of clean it out, what I'm told, and they kind of bust up the scar tissue. And I think what they actually might do is force the knee straight while the person is under sedation, like out, which will go, and then all the scar tissue is then broken, and then they have to go in with like a suction device and clean it all out of there. I think that's actually how they do it, and then you start up on the rehab again. So, yeah, just got done paying off our medical bills from last year. Throw another log on the pile. Fuck it, I don't care. All right, so that's what's going on. Not nearly as bad, though, as this lady. Holy crap. This is a sweet old thing, 74-year-old lady by the name of Barbara Barnes. She's a grandma. This is somewhere in I think England where this happened, but I just got the story now, and I cannot believe that this happened. Grandma Barnes needs a new knee. So, all right, actually she's having a double knee replacement surgery, and so I think the idea was to have the left knee done, and then a little bit of time passes, and then do the right knee. Now, some people do both at the same time. I guess it depends on what level of shape you're in, and sometimes they'll put the one knee on, and then they'll let the person recuperate and then do the other. All the while, it's pretty much a bummer. Now, what you're looking at there is you got two lower leg bones closest to your foot, tibia and fibula. The fibula is the smaller one. The tibia is the big one, your shin bone. And then upper leg, closest to your privates, is your femur. So what's going to happen there is they're going to cut the bottom of the femur, the bone head, the crown, if you will, and the crowns of the tibia and the fibula. They're going to cut those off, all right? And then what they do is they then put the new joint in. It's a great device, space-age metal and polymers and ligaments. It's great. And they screw the shit on there, and the bone heals around it. It calcifies. You're good as new. You have a new knee. I know people who've been through this procedure. Works with hip. Works with all these joints. But, I mean, it's a little bit of a problem, but the pain is going to leave you eventually, and you're going to be as good as new, especially people with arthritis. This is awesome. So she gets it done. Well, she right away, when she comes out of sedation, Grandma Barnes is like, this feels bad. Just not right. And they're like, no big deal. It's, as soon as the swelling goes down, you'll be good to go. Well, she never really feels comfortable with it, and she's in agony. And they're like, you'll be fine. More time passes. She's in more agony. She can't even move. They're like, well, this isn't right. You should be able to move by now. I don't know what happened to you. It's your fault. No, it's not. Months go by, and they cannot figure out why it's going like this. She says, it just doesn't seem right. She said, I was extremely worried that something had gone wrong, but I kept being told everything's fine. Everything's fine. More time passes. They finally convince the doctor to take a look, like a closer look with an MRI or what. And what they learn quickly is this. You're not going to believe this. Instead of cutting out the bad knee, the bad left knee, and then putting on the left fake knee, the left implant, they put the implant for the right knee into her left leg. What? You heard me right. They had, well, why were they even in the same room? Why would that even happen? Yeah, we got two knees here, and the right's going to be put in a few months. Let's just set it here next to the left one that we actually need to use. Here, it's time to put it in. Idiot grabs right knee and installs it into her leg. No one notices during the surgery? What? Man. Being told that a right-sided implant had been used on my left knee was a huge shock and the kind of basic error that you would not expect when undergoing major surgery. You put a huge amount of trust in doctors, and something like this impacts on that massively. Let's see. Barnes, who has 4 grown-up children and 7 grandchildren, was scheduled to have her left knee operated on first. But after the surgery, she was still in pain. Let's see what else happened here. I want to hear about the millions she's collecting. A report by the has said that type of implant that Barbara had were stored together with left-sided items on the right side of the box and right-sided items on the left of the box. Why? What? It should say this. It should be very, very clear, like embossed on the fake ligaments. Left leg. You know, I mean, seriously. This would first be done by a member of the theater team. Actually, it says the trust also said it was standard practice for 3 checks to be carried out on a knee implant. This would firstly be done by a member of the theater team who collects it from the storage room, then by the scrub nurse, and then thirdly by the surgeon. Staff would present the device and state what it was independently. The trust deemed that the checking process was not robust enough. Man. Storage arrangements had since been changed at the trust, including storing different side implants in different color-coded boxes. Wow, brilliant. Yeah, I need to know how much she's suing for. Sincere apologies. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it doesn't say. So I guess this is early enough on that they haven't gotten that far yet. But my God. So I'm assuming they're now putting her back together appropriately. But they said that they fully accept the care provided in this instance fell well below what standard patients expect from us. So, I mean, hopefully it's all going to work out. They can put the right knee one in and then put the correct one in and then do it right. I would probably go to a different hospital to get it done so that it's done right appropriately. And then you sue. I would say, I mean, she's going to be wealthy, and so will her kids and her grandkids going forward. I mean, to me, that'd be worth it. If they did that to me, I'm 74 years old, and then I end up getting the knee put back appropriately, but then I can sue for, I don't know, I would settle for, what do you think, 10 mil? I think that would cut it. I'd sue you for 100. I'd settle for 10. How does that sound? Not bad. So hopefully that doesn't happen to Jackie. My God. That scares the hell out of me now. Getting in front of that doctor, and he's like, he ends up like replacing her hand. All right. Dear Meathead, in 19 minutes. Coming up next, you're going to be so pissed off when you hear this audio. It is of a mother and her kid who might be the worst thing I've ever heard when it comes to a parent-child relationship. The kid is the biggest. He is such a lost cause. I mean, seriously, talk about a horrible, horrible thing that has taken place about a kid who is so addicted to video games. A couple people sent me this clip, and I just cannot believe it. And now the kid and the parents are going on Dr. Phil. It might even have already aired. I don't know, but this clip is all more than I can handle. I don't know what to do with this kid 17 hours a day. He's completely disrespectful to his parents. His parents are the biggest. The dad is the biggest pussy you have ever heard. You won't believe this gutless dad. It's gonna murder you when you hear this. I got a text message from Mario Flores, from the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Last night, he was watching the debate, and he goes, I can't believe it. You sound just like him. He's referring to Senator Sanders. And then I went and recorded a special a special piece of audio that I then texted his way. Hello, this is Senator Sanders. Medicare for all and Mario Flores for all. I got to say, doing the voice makes me want to cough. I got to say, doing that voice makes me want to cough. And if you're going to do Senator Sanders, it is very important that that right hand gets moving. Oh, Mayor Bloomberg, there you go again, saying that the Russians are trying to make me the candidate. It's because they know that I will lose to Trump. Well, we're not going to lose to Trump. And then, Mr. Putin, I'll tell you, you will not interfere with an election. I can only do it so long. Oh, God, hang on, I might even puke. Oh, God, that hurt. Oh, shit. Mr. Putin, you will not interfere with our elections. Going further. I'm 2 for 2 with people, though, calling random people and talking to, people who love Bernie Sanders. They believe it. All right. Anyway, where was I? Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. You can call Mario at his desk. I'm not kidding you. If you call 231-332-6505, Mario will pick it up. And he wants to talk to you personally if you're in the market for a mortgage. Get a mortgage before you start looking for the home. He's going to get you in the right mortgage. There are unscrupulous mortgage idiots out there who are going to get you into a home that's more than into a mortgage that is more than you can afford. And he's going to take one look at that and say, are you sure? I don't know if that's a great mortgage for you because I'm looking at some of the other things you're paying here. Mario's been through this, and he wants to make sure that you're not stressed to the max when it comes to the amount that you're spending. It was unscrupulous mortgage people back when the housing market collapsed that led down that road. Get people into the biggest mortgage possible, and then before you know it, they can't afford it, and they're facing foreclosure because they can't afford it. That's not the way it works. 231-332-6505. Quit paying some slumlord for rent and making him rich. Pay on your own home. 231-332-6505. If you can't get into a mortgage, not all you can. He's going to say this is how you can. He's going to get you there, I promise you. Blue Frost IT, thanks to them, key sponsor of the Eric Zane Show podcast. In fact, Mario, I don't know if I've reached out to you. Mario, I'm going to give you a call about Blue Frost IT because they're in business for small and medium-sized businesses with their IT needs. And I know you got a shit ton of computers over there at the office, and you need to have an IT team on your payroll. Now, you can't afford an in-house guy. I mean, few can. Giant companies can. But the people that support this podcast are all small and medium-sized business. Blue Frost IT is made for that. Each month, you give them a few bucks, and they're in charge of your IT. They're boots on the ground for you when you get in the weeds. Blue Frost IT, the number one managed IT service provider for small and medium-sized businesses in West Michigan. 616-200-8550. Thank you so much to Blue Frost IT. Online at bluefrostit.com. Okay. If you think that your kid plays too much video games or looks at their phone too much, you haven't seen anything yet. This kid is completely nuts. I'm not sure what part of the country that they live in. You got a mom, you got a dad, you got a kid. The kid's name is Nico. Nico spends like 17 hours a day on video games. He wakes up, turns on the games, won't go to school, lays on a couch, eats garbage food. He's obese. Not so much that he's bedridden, but he's massively fat. Teenager. Completely hates his parents if they tell him to stop. Has temper tantrums. Completely inappropriate to a point where it's just horrible. You're going to hate this kid. You're going to want this kid to die when you hear this shit. This is only a 3-minute clip giving you the background of this asshole kid and his ridiculously unfocused parents who have enabled him in the worst way possible. The mom is in a wheelchair. Somehow she's only got one leg, and she can't really I don't know. It's just awful. This is so bad. You're going to hate this. So try to stay with me on this. And apparently this family's on Dr. Phil, and I sure as shit hope that he is able to help this family because it's just awful. But to me, there's no hope for this kid. You basically just got to throw him out of a skyscraper window at this point.
Nico is absolutely addicted to his video games.
Let me get the streak of 6ix9ine. Let me get the streak. No!
He'll be on this device for 17 hours a day sometimes. I try to get Nico off video games, tell him that he's limited. He can only have 5 hours a day. And his answer is, oh, no, that's not going to happen. And it's a fight. I asked you hours ago to clean up that mess. What's going on?
Now!
Nico is the most spoiled child.
This is Pussy Dad.
Nico is absolutely
shit.
addicted hours a day, and his answer is, oh, no, that's not going to happen. And it's a fight. I asked you hours ago to clean up that mess. What's going on?
Now!
Nico is the...
You believe that? Yeah, this is tip of the iceberg. Do you hear what he just said to his mother? If you're a parent and your kid, let's say you're a dad, and you find out that he talked to mom with one leg like that, it's probably appropriate to ball up your fist and break his nose at that point if he talks to your wife that way.
most spoiled child.
Nico!
Get out!
Stop it!
Get out!
Get off.
Right the now!
Nico can get so angry, he will destroy everything in the house.
What are you doing about it, Dad?
Anything in his path, anything that Nico can get his hands on, will get destroyed.
What is my computer? He gets what he wants by bullying us and terrorizing this house. He'll pull his hair. Stop it, Nico.
He's bashing his phone against his head because he's not getting his way. This is so screwed up. Now, I don't know. And I thought they'd say he's got a cognitive impairment, but he doesn't. This was a normal kid to begin with.
Starts screaming if he's not on his devices.
Nico, your mouth!
I take him off the internet, and he immediately starts throwing things and breaking things, and it's cost us thousands of dollars replacing everything that he's broken. He'll bang his controller. If I don't give him what he wants, I'm gonna break this phone. Nico is not in school right now. He wants to be a YouTuber when he gets older, and he doesn't need school. I couldn't.
Oh no. So he's not going to school, and they're not disciplining him because of that? I mean, can't you you're the parent. Put him in school. He can't just decide that he's not going to school unless he's 18, right?
Force Nico to get up and go. It was impossible. He's a very large child. I think Nico takes advantage of me more now because he knows that I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair and there's not much I can do. He'll strike out and he'll hit me. Physically, I'm no match for him. He's a big kid and I have one leg. There's not much.
I'm sorry. I would beat I'd go to jail. I would beat the hillbilly shit out of this kid until he gives up. Every day, I'd come home and kick his ass until he decided to stop. I'd be terrible with this kid. I would not be able to take it.
I can do.
I feel our family is falling apart. We desperately need help to get everything back on track.
It's absolutely out of control, and I see it only getting worse.
I am about to break your nose again.
How did it get this way where we have a child running the house?
What do I do to stop it? I've taken things away. I've had my nose broken 3 times. What? I've taken him to doctors. I've tried
And this dad's just sitting there, and he's a kind of a slightly framed guy, and I'm like, you are such a wimp. What is going on here?
Thing.
Dad, what are you doing about this?
When he starts getting into a rage and getting violent,
Listen.
I go upstairs in my studio, my music room, to avoid it because
Oh, my God.
he winds up getting physical with me.
A son's video game addiction
Oh, my God.
Leave me alone!
crosses the line.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Nico has threatened to kill us.
Taking back control.
You're not going to school, so you're basically just sleeping, eating, playing video games.
Yeah, I've tried everything.
You're negotiating with your child to take a shower.
Well, I was kind of bargaining.
You're enabling the behavior.
New Dr. Phil.
I got to see this. I have got to see this. I need more information right now. Holy crap. I'm like affected by this. Dean sent it along. Thank you, Dean. God, Dean, you're awesome. Send so many good stories. And I just, what the fuck has happened? How could this be? I'd rather get coronavirus than have that as one of my kids. I'm serious. I'd end up going to jail. I wouldn't be able to tolerate it. But now that since they're okay, so what in the world to do? I wonder what Dr. Phil is going to suggest, because I would think that extreme things need to be put in place just to stop people from being hurt. So I think the cops should be involved. Some type of you should call CPS on yourself and get the kid taken away to like some type of juvenile detention facility until he reaches an age where he can be put into the Army or something like that. There has to be some extreme measure. A psycho shock therapy, perhaps a lobotomy. I don't know. I mean, what? Because they clearly can't love this kid, right? This piece of shit kid. There's no way anybody could ever love him, right? How? He's breaking mom's nose on a regular basis. Okay, today I got to make it a point to find out when this airs, and if it's already aired, to watch the whole thing in its entirety. I have to know more information about Nico, the crazy video game kid. Wow, that is beyond brat. That's just criminal. He's assaulting his mother. Yeah, you know what? For starters, I think that the cops should be involved and he should be arrested. And I think that that's where you start. And if you throw the kid into the penal system like that, well, you know, at this point, at least the mom with one leg will be safe, you know. And then hopefully something happens along the way in the juvenile detention system that he can be scared shitless, and something positive can come out of it. But I'm not going to lie, probably not. This kid's probably going to be a lifelong criminal or wind up dead at some point after he gets into the system. But at least the mom will be safe, and she won't die because this maniac kills her. He's injured her many times. Holy crap. That's how I think that this should go at this point, unless he somehow agrees to treat people with respect. My God. Oh, sorry I had to expose you to that. I'm guessing you heard it and you're like, holy shit, you want to go kick his ass right now. We should create a Zaniac caravan, jump in the camper and drive to wherever Nico is and beat the shit out of him on the front lawn and bust his video games and kick that dad's ass too, or I don't know, give him some type of self-defense course so he can learn how to fight. Wow. All right, I only got 4 minutes till Dad's in here, so you got a couple minutes to get questions in. Eric@ericzaneshow.com. I'm going to pause the rest of the content until we get done with Dad. Doesn't that sound like fun? That's how we'll do it. So Eric@ericzaneshow.com. Before we get to Dad, though, a little warm in here. Just love Irvine's Auto Repair in Grand Rapids Hybrid. They added a new technician who is a wizard with BMWs, Minis, and Mercedes vehicles. Now, they've built this business slowly, and they wanted to make sure that they had the right personnel. For the longest time, they only fixed domestic and Asian vehicles, and that's a lot of vehicles. But they've gotten so good at that, and they've had the opportunity to branch out, so they hired the right guy just recently. We talked about it when Jamie and Megan were in here from Irvine's the other night when they took over the show with Girl Talk. But now they're fixing all those brands. In Grand Rapids, their number is always anywhere 616-202-5538. They are in Grand Rapids, 3 blocks east of 131 off of 44th Street. So if you're on 44th Street, a few blocks east of 131 is Stafford. That's where Irvine's Auto Repair Grand Rapids Hybrid is. Take your car to Irvine's if you support the show. You can reach out to them at 616-202-5538. They've been in business for over 25 years. Veteran and lady-owned. You will love them. We're getting down to the final few days before we're past the point of no return with TAG Accounting. This is a CPA. TagCPA.net. A lot of people are like, hey, is he a CPA? Yeah, I say that all the time. I just heard from Jeff, and he goes, I'll be going to there. I didn't know it was a CPA. This is why I say this shit over and over again, because I can say it 100 times, and you might not get the whole message. But it's true. Troy is a CPA. He's got a staff of people. He's as good as anybody in that industry, accounting. And you got just a handful of days left before he can take no more new clients. Well, that's not true. A handful of days before the ad campaign runs out, and then he's constantly working on returns. You might be able to get in, but as long as the ads are running, you can get in. 616-301-9516. Make it a point. Don't wait anymore. I've been working on mine here at the house, and that was an eye-opening thing, being a self-employed now. I've had to accumulate all of my expenses and writing all that stuff down, and then I'm going to present it to Troy and say, here's my info, Troy. My tax appointment is actually coming up on March 3rd with Troy. You can make your appointment now at 616-301-9516. I do mine face-to-face with Troy because I like seeing the tax hobbit, but you don't have to do it that way. Some people do it from other states, and you don't see Troy face-to-face, but you upload your documents via his web portal. 616-301-9516. Just got to chill. I put this space heater far away from me, and then I immediately started to freeze in this room. Did you know that when you run a business like this, like, you can write off part of your energy bill? Troy taught me that. I didn't even know that. Like, what you do is, like, if it costs me $200 a week or a month in energy and electricity to keep the lights on in this house, what you do is you take the square footage of the house. Everybody probably knows this. I was just the last to know. And then I take the square footage of this room, and that number, let's say it's 10% of the square footage of the house. That means that 10% of my electric bill, I write that off. That's a business expense. I had no idea. And I can do that for gas. I can do that for electric. I can do that for water, sewer. I learned all this stuff from Troy. He's helping me build my business. Okay. Let's see what we got for questions on Dear Meathead. By the way, when he comes back, there is an update on the psycho Michigan serial killer that ate Kevin Bacon's balls. This guy, oh my God. Let's see, I got an anonymous one. I got an anonymous question from the person who reached out and said that this person was a sex addict. So I've got an update for you. If you could write in the subject line of the questions, Dear Meathead, that would be sweet. It makes life a lot easier. I have 2 other questions ready to go, but the rest of you, I don't hear. Okay, no, Dean's got one. All right, good. All right, I think we're going to be good to go, but keep sending them along. Eric at ericzaneshow.com for Dear Meathead. I think we're just about ready to go. Let's see. Should be good. There he is.
Good morning.
Hi, Dad.
How you doing, son?
Doing well. Everything good over there?
No, snowing like bugger.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you guys got hammered with snow. We didn't get any.
Oh, we're supposed to get a lot of snow here, and then I got to go for a therapy here this morning. And to drive in that snow, I don't know.
Yeah, leave early. What time is the appointment?
What is it? No, the appointment is at 1:30.
Okay. All right. I didn't want to mess you up, like if it's at like 10 o'clock.
Oh, no, we're all right. We changed everything around, so we're doing fine.
That's good to hear.
So how you doing? How's the family?
We're doing great, Dad. Everybody's doing awesome. Staying busy, and all that stuff. Did you watch the debate last night?
Yes, I did.
What?
I don't like that old gizzard.
You're talking about Senator Sanders?
No. Yeah. He's the 120-year-old guy.
He's younger than you.
Well,
You couldn't be president.
I couldn't be the president, Joanne.
Well,
I don't know. He's way up there in the years, past me, I think.
he's 78 and he had a heart attack this year.
Yeah.
So what he
Yeah,
said?
my God, he's younger than I am. Is right.
Yeah, he says he's okay though, but I don't know. I actually don't.
Yeah, but his personality and his attitude for running the country is not the proper thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I have said this before. I'm not going to vote for him, but I actually like the guy. He seems to be very to the point when he says something. He says what he means. He appears to say what he means and means what he says. For the most part, there are some discrepancies that are going around now, like how he's going to fund all of these things.
He sounds he's always angry.
Yeah, and I think that's I think a lot of people like that about him. I don't know why, but he seems to be doing very well. But all of the other candidates are now gunning for him because they know.
Yeah, and that woman next to him or so, that one in the red outfit, I forget what her name is.
Her name is Elizabeth.
She's going back to bashing everybody.
Yeah, you're talking about.
And she doesn't try anything about the improvement that she's going to make.
So you're saying you like Senator Warren?
No, I don't.
Oh, no. There isn't any of these people that you like.
No.
All right.
Buttigieg is the one we really care for.
Okay. Now, all right. Yeah. Now he's gay, Dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all right. We need some happiness in a White House.
Well, that's interesting. I'm glad that you feel that way because we don't that shouldn't be anything that gets in the way of him being elected.
I'd look at personalities, the way they talk. He's got a cool mentality, explains things and all that, and he don't bash anybody really, just a little bit,
Well,
not bashing each other.
Wait a minute
know
now.
that.
Yeah, but you love Trump, and he bashes everybody.
Well, Trump is a hick.
All right.
Yeah, just like he's born out there on the west side.
All right. Well, okay. Glad we got that out of the way. I've got a number of questions to ask you.
Lay on me, my friend.
Okay. The first one is an update. I don't know if you recall, but recently we had a person who sent you a question about being addicted to sex and like pornography. Remember? I don't know if you remember that interaction. Somebody wrote you a note about what should I do. Oops, you still there? Oops, what happened? Hey.
What happened?
I don't know. I was talking, and then all of a sudden it seemed like you weren't there. I have no idea.
All right, now go back to where you started.
Okay.
The person that, go ahead.
Yeah, we had a person reach out to you and ask your advice about being a sex addict and looking at pornography. I think you probably remember that one.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's reciprocating and getting back to you.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a man or a woman, but this person writes this. Actually, no, I do know because this person did indicate a wife. This is a gentleman, and this person writes, Dear Meathead, sex addict here from last week. Last week I mentioned that I was struggling with the desire to go back to old habits. Eric politely suggested that I make whoopee with my wife not knowing the whole backstory that we both had been abused in the past with opposite effects. Is my relationship doomed, or do you think we can overcome these obstacles? Oh my goodness, I did not realize that. That's very, very serious. So, where I said, yeah, you should just go and have sex with your wife, he said, well, yeah, but you know what? We've been abused in the past, and that has hurt them. So, boy, this sounds very complex, Dad.
Well, you want a response?
Yeah. What do you think about this?
First of all, it really does sound very serious, and he is very concerned about it, and I'm grateful to hear that. Now, it's just like a disease. Any disease has a remedy.
Right.
Psychological remedy is not the easiest remedy in the world.
Yeah.
A desire is desire. But then again, it takes an effort, a psychological effort. I think he should contact a person of knowledge that is dealing with this kind of thing.
I agree.
Because that can definitely destroy his wife in situations.
Yeah, this is way above our pay grade at this point. Now that
my advice to him would not be an educated advice. It's just a psychological advice that I would give him. That is not a normal thing to do.
Yeah, I think he needs professional help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's something that got into him to the, unfortunately, pornography world.
Yeah, that can be rough.
This is a ridiculous thing in this country that has taken place, and no one is paying attention to it.
Yep.
You need to learn how to
it's all over the system that you can have access to it. And there are idiots out there that market that program. And then, to me, this country is really down at the brink of all kinds of disasters.
Yep.
With the sex and the activity and pornography. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You see the ramification of stealing little kids and exposing them to something like that, or women.
Right, yeah.
I came to this country with the love of Christianity, for instance. And again, this is off the chart as far as I'm concerned. But I love God, and I love the clearness and neatness of God. And all of a sudden, I'm exposed to all this knowledge of pornography. There's a big market for it. It's all over the television.
It's the ease at which people can get it, and if you're a person who is susceptible to its influence on you, if the recipe for disaster would be just what he described. Person who has been a victim of something terrible then is maybe not so quick to get into intimate relationships, so at some point he has to satisfy that, so he might turn to that, which leads to an entirely different mindset and a different set of problems. Probably best to call upon an expert ASAP.
Well put, son. I really appreciate what you just said. This is great.
Yes.
Fuck you. I'm trying to help you,
how do you advertise something like that without any professional assistance? You can't just do it by yourself.
Absolutely. All right.
I think you should contact someone that is a professional that would look into this.
I agree with you,
Dad. Otherwise, the marriage is ruined.
Right. You got to fix that. So, Anonymous, get on that. Don't let another day pass by without you aggressively tackling this. It's going to be difficult at first, but you can handle it and get after it. And if you need anyone to encourage you, feel free to contact me at any time. Always looking to help out.
Great. Well put. Now, here it is. Every adverse habit that is an adverse habit, and you have another partner in your life, is going to be headed for disaster. That's all there is to it.
That's a lot
if you're willing to deal with that, we'll keep it up. If you're not, do something about it. Seek professional help.
All right, so let me get that straight. Every adverse habit is an adverse habit.
Every adverse habit is destined for destruction.
I got it. I know what you mean. How about this one, Dad? Let's see here. I got another question for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
This one is much more simple. Melinda in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. First of all, she says hi. She says, please tell him hi from Nashville. And she says, dear Meathead.
That's Melinda?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hi, Melinda. How are you?
I'm sure she says hi back. She says,
I'm sure she did.
She says, dear Meathead, I used to have an above-ground pool in my backyard. We wound up taking it down. I have about a 4 to 5 inch deep. I have about 4 to 5 inches of sand in an 18-inch circle now on the ground. I want to grow grass in its place, Meathead. Do you have any tips for the best way to get rid of the sand, or should I just put dirt on top of the sand? Thank you.
No. Do not put dirt on top of the sand.
Uh-huh.
Rake it up a little bit at a time, maybe about 6 inches or so. Shovel in some buckets, occasionally. I don't know how you dispose that.
Yeah, maybe like a wheelbarrow.
Start hauling it out of there.
Yeah.
Just about 6 to 8 inches, and then put a layer of topsoil, nice black topsoil, and seed it. Do not water it for the first 10 days.
Wait a minute.
If it rains and all that, that's great because you can wash it off. You don't want it to wash. When you put the seed in there, then take it and re-rake it again because the seed can go down a little bit better. And just watering it. Now, you're going to have sporadic grass coming up at different areas, and some areas will be bare. Reseed it again to bare areas. It takes a little while. It takes a season for nice grass to start coming up.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can't just put seed on top of sand.
Yeah, well, now, I don't know, though, Dad. Did you say you don't water the seed for 10 days?
Because you wash it off. No. Do a nice fine sprinkle because you can wash the seed around.
Right. Yeah, now that's
very fine mist. You can do it.
Yeah. You like adjust the nozzle. You don't want to use
right. Don't put an abrasive type of water hitting it because it's going to push that all around all over.
Nice and easy, and then make sure it stays moist.
Yeah, then pray to God for rain. If it rains, then you're doing good.
Yeah, but the rain can wash it away too.
No, rain's coming directly down. Water you put in there, it pushes it aside.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's basically.
Water's got a pressure. You don't want no pressure in there.
Okay. Well, all right. Very good. Mark is in New Orleans, Louisiana. And if you have a question for Dad, you can get in any last-minute questions to eric@ericzaneshow.com. Mark writes this. Dear Meathead, have you ever visited New Orleans to celebrate Mardi Gras? Have you?
I have never done that, unfortunately. I think it's a fantastic sight to see.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, no.
He says, now that we are in Lent, will you be giving up anything for Lent?
Well, I never followed Lent.
Well, that's pretty much.
I never have, unfortunately.
Isn't that a Catholic thing only? No.
I really don't have a clue.
Oh, okay.
I mean, can't people on their own make a decision that, hey, for the next 10 days, I'm not going to do the following thing?
No, we do the same thing.
Yeah,
well,
Joanne.
We have a Lent.
Yeah, you do.
Church has it. They eat like once a day or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But I don't because my eating habits are not as crazy as most world out there.
Okay.
I have diabetes and so forth, and I'm a normal. I'm 165 pounds soaking wet, and 170 pounds. I used to be 100. I don't know much more than that.
I think you're at a good weight.
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Mark says
intake of food is a disease for overweightness. I was watching a woman that's about 300 pounds, 400 pounds on television. I couldn't believe that. But then again, it's a habit that has to be cured. And willpower is the strongest thing that you need to have.
I think there's
and most of us don't have it.
I think that there's more to Lent though than just possibly consuming food. It's you could take
this
some.
Is true.
It could be like being I don't know, praying for a certain amount of time every day.
This is true.
Yeah, and then hold on, Dad. Let me make sure I got this right. Intake of food is a disease for the overweight.
Oh, absolutely. It requires willpower not to take that big last banana pie or whatever the heck we eat. Hey, back off.
Dad.
I look at the very thing. I said, what is the matter with people that the habit that they have that is a nasty habit, they know it's bad for their health, they're not going to put an effort to not to do that.
I understand. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult for people. I used to be pretty preachy about it. I'm a little less preachy these days. I kind of understand, but at the same time, if they want to live a long time, they gotta do that. I mean, especially if you got like kids or loved ones and you want to live for them. You don't want to do things that can kill you, I guess.
Hey, when parents allow that they see what their kids are doing, the food intake and all that, and they don't do anything about it from childhood.
Yeah. Yep.
Come on.
Dad, in fact, Mark, in that same email, he wrote, now that we're in Lent, will you be giving up anything besides the table saw?
Oh, yeah. I'm giving away a $400 table saw free of charge to one of my family members.
I'll take it.
Oh, it is $400.
Well, she says...
yeah. Hey, if...
I get an opposition that it's not $400.
I'll tell you what. If
40 years old, it's in excellent condition.
If nobody wants it, I'll take it.
No, it's already promised to someone else.
All right. Well, if they change their mind, I want it. I'm going to take it up north.
Oh, he ain't. He's taking it.
All right. Mark writes this. What are some of your best travel memories with Eric? Do you have one that pops up in your head? Traveling with me, what comes to mind?
The best travel is when the entire family-wise, I mean, a whole gang of us got together, went camping.
Uh-huh.
And he took a friend with him.
Yep.
And the funniest thing, which was not funny at that time, was that he got a hold of a bottle of wine.
Yep.
They were in a tent.
Uh-huh.
He and his buddy were chug-a-lugging.
Oh, yeah. I remember. It was Kyle. Kyle Brazelton.
Yes. When I got a hold of that, I said, oh, my God, kid.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then again, I started thinking, what would I do if I got a hold of that bottle of wine when I was his age?
I was good.
I would have done the same thing that he did.
That was you were drinking ouzo, and I was drinking wine.
Yes, we didn't know that.
Now, Dad, I've over the years I've shared a lot about our adventures, and Mark is very funny because he actually wrote, what are some of your best travel memories with Eric other than getting kicked out of the campground for throwing fireworks at young children?
Well, no, the memories I have is just really what I was watching among all of our membership in that area to what every individual does. And that really stuck to my brain.
Oh yeah, and that classic story was, I actually wasn't there when that one happened. I was not with you with the fireworks incident when you threw the
No.
M80
That fireworks incident was a funny thing because there's a campground warden. There's a drought.
Yeah.
Dangers of fires being set aside, to burn the whole place down.
Yeah.
Was taboo. So they had this patrol checking around everybody. All of a sudden, I let go of fireworks, and he didn't know where it was, but he started checking up and let another one. We kept doing around, and this guy was chasing me, and he never could find me.
Yeah, I know it. You were like a 45-year-old man, too.
But I enjoyed doing it.
Yep. All right.
And I kept the whole people awake all night.
Let me see what I got here. Dean says, hey, dear Meathead, I want to buy a table saw. Do you recommend a good brand? Please embellish.
Well, the brands that I see is generally sold in hardware stores. And there really is not a particular brand. But then again, don't buy anything that is an inexpensive type of thing off the wall.
Uh-huh.
Wait a minute. What is the name of that, Joanne?
Sears is where you
It used to be the Sears product, which was an excellent product. It's lasted me like 30 years. But it never broke. It's all great. It's still great.
Yep.
But there's no Sears involved. But then again, any hardware store that sells table saws and all that is a good brand.
Good.
Good
for cutting fingers.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
I bought that for you for Christmas.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I remember that. Christmas.
I actually remember that. And finally, Andrea, very simply, she says, Dear Meathead, I'm surprising my kids with a trip to Disney. Do you have any good ideas on how I can surprise them?
Wait a minute. Would you repeat that?
Andrea writes, Dear Meathead, I'm surprising my kids with a trip to Disney World. Do you have any good ways on how I can surprise them? Thanks, Andrea.
Well, don't talk about anything of the trip. Tell them mention of a family member that's got a little distance away from you, living somewhere else. Tell them you're going to go visit them.
Okay, like actually get
and whether
them.
they pout that no, we don't want to go visit them and all that. No, you're going to like them because this family member has got some good things for you.
Okay,
do a little lying. That's not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, we have to take an airplane or to drive in a car.
Right.
It takes 10 days or something to get there.
I don't think it takes 10 days, but probably 2. All right,
okay.
I like that idea. I think that'll work.
Let's surprise them,
Yeah. All right. Dad, that's it. I got nothing more for you. Yes, once again, you did a stellar job on this. And good luck with the snow. Hopefully you won't shovel it. Hopefully somebody will do it for you, okay?
Oh, yeah. No. I got to clean them. I love doing that. And I don't shovel them by 2 hands. I do one-handed shovel. Besides, I've got a little blower that does the job.
All right. Well, be careful, okay?
We're building up in here. It's doing a whole lot of snowing right now.
Has anybody tried to tell you to knock it off? Like quit shoveling snow? Has that
Well, they're all watching me. One day I took a shovel, went out there, the very first one, the big snow.
Yeah.
And pushing it by one hand, I couldn't lift it or anything. It was so much. All of a sudden, 2 people showed up with their blowers and all that, snow blowers, shovels, and cleared the whole thing up. I got one bunch of. The whole neighborhood loves to see me.
I know it. When you start doing it, there's no way. As soon as you start working on that today, they're going to be looking out for you, and they're going to be there.
Well, yes, they are, but I'm not. What is that, Joanne?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I'm just right now. It's light enough that when I get a shot at this, I just push it up, but no problem. There's nothing going on.
Yep, I got you. All right, Dad.
All right, and you guys be careful yourselves if you get the snow. So keep it in good shape. And I got to go for hand therapy earlier.
Yep. All right, well, have a good one. I'll talk to you down the road. Okay, Joanne, I love you. Dad,
I
love you.
Thanks for your call. Thanks for all my audience. You're wonderful people. God love you and keep you and keep off the road if you got snow there.
Okay, that's sage advice. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Joanne.
All right, honey.
Okay, guys. Love you too.
I love you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. That's that. Always a good time. Dear Meathead, as you know, I like to I'll lift it out of the podcast and make it its own entry podcast. So you can check that out if you only like to listen to that. Whatever. I don't even know why I'm going out of my way to say that. I'm an idiot. Man, just always so much. There was some comments on the asshole-free Reddit about how much more enjoyable Dear Meathead. It just flows. It's so much easier to do it this way. Might have been suggested by an audience member to do it this way. I think it just kind of happened one day, and I've kind of stuck to it. Okay. So I told you before we got Dad on about the story of this crazy-ass serial killer who in the Flint area was going through a competency exam to see if he would be competent to stand trial. He killed a dude, strangely enough, his name was Kevin Bacon, right around Christmas time. Bacon was on Grindr, and he was looking to hook up with a dude for some sex. Whatever. I mean, there is a risk to that. Nowadays you can get someone like this Mark Latunsky, who is a serial killer, maniac, cannibal animal. And so it's very tricky business. Well, Bacon ends up hooking up with the guy, and the guy kills him, puts him in a secret room of his home, and no joke, eats his balls. Actually, ate him while he was hanging there. And I don't know how the cops end up tracking. I forget the story how the cops tracked Latunsky down, but they did. And then they found the secret room. Bacon is there. Oh, my God. Horrible, horrible scene. Terrible. This guy, Latunsky, this competency exam, you might be thinking, oh, this is just a little hurdle to overcome in what will be a typical murder trial of a crazy man, and he will be found guilty, and then he'll be in prison for the rest of his life. Nope. This maniac is probably going to be in a psychiatric hospital, and if he is able to, quote-unquote, get better, he would then be released from the hospital. He has failed a competency exam, which means he can't be bound over for trial. What? Yeah. A competency evaluation was completed on Latunsky. After a 30-day exam at a state psychiatric hospital in Ypsilanti, they have said he is unfit to stand trial. It was the opinion of the Forensic Center in Ypsilanti that he's incompetent, said his public defender, Doug Corwin. How'd you like to have that job, Corwin, defending this ball eater? According to a release, the state of Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Center for Forensic Psychiatry says they have opined that Latunsky is not presently competent to stand trial. A hearing will be held before the Honorable Ward L. Clarkson in regards to Mr. Latunsky's competency tomorrow. Corwin added that he's confident that Clarkson, the judge, will find him incompetent. There's no professional that says he's not, said his defense attorney. Corwin added that he doesn't know if Latunsky will be at the hearing, but he may appear via video conference, assuming the judge rules Latunsky incompetent. Corwin said it's unclear when Latunsky could be transported to the psychiatric facility, which Corwin calls a lockup facility. Charged with killing and mutilating 25-year-old Kevin Bacon from Swartz Creek in late December. Everything stops when we file a motion for forensic evaluation, said Shiawassee County Public Defender Doug Corwin. Mr. Latunsky had that evaluation done, and now the Forensic Center is pulling in prior history, current history, and looking at everything to determine mental status. Corwin requested the evaluation because of his own concerns about his client's mental state, and he says it's not getting any better. There has not been a charge at this time. In fact, I think he's getting worse. I'm sorry. There has not been a change at this time. In fact, I think he's getting worse. His ability to distinguish what is real and what is not. I mean, can't you just make the argument that he's acting? I mean, isn't that even possible? That would be the first question I would have for any judge in a competency hearing. I mean, if you're crazy enough, I mean, sure, he's crazy, but I mean, isn't anyone who commits murder crazy to some degree? He's probably a little bit more batshit crazy than most. But, I mean, can't that argument be made that he could be? Because if I'm going to have the opportunity to spend I'm going to spend my rest of my life in prison, and I know that if I act back, I take a dump in my hand and start eating it during the competency exam, they're going to say, oh, this guy's crazy, put him in the hospital, and then I'll quote unquote get better, and then I'm out on the street, right? Corwin drifted off. Okay, his ability to distinguish what is real and what is not, said Corwin, drifting off and not finishing his sentence. He says that presents another challenge for Latunsky's defense. I think he knows the charges, but because of what's going on with his thinking, he's not able to help us defend him. The other day I talked to him. I had 3 questions for him, and it took 45 minutes to kind of get an answer. The gruesome nature of the crime has led to hate mail for the public defender. I haven't had anybody really threaten my life, but just a lot of bad talk out there. Our department, this is our job. It's what we do. Everybody deserves a good, confident legal defense. Agreed. Corwin is a pastor in Corona, Michigan. When he's not in the public defender's office, he says he often relies on his faith to guide him through cases. I don't look at the ethics behind it or anything that he did. I'm there to work in his best interest at this point because I don't believe him to be competent. Well, that's the law. Man, if he's found incompetent, he'll be hospitalized in a lockdown facility and have periodic reviews on his mental state. If he shows no improvement after 15 months, he'll be reassessed, and the forensic center will decide on best treatment going forward. All I want to know is, can the ball leader get back on the streets? That's all I care about. His foreclosed home, the ball leader's foreclosed home, will go up for auction on February 26th. There will be no public viewing of the house before the auction. Well, you know, that's probably going to be a reason for it to be, that's probably going to be a good fixer-upper. Can I get a $1,000 bid on the ball leader's home? Featuring this ball eater room where balls were eaten and a murder was committed. Who the hell's going to want to buy that one up for foreclosure? I tell you what, that is a real bargain. Definitely a fixer-upper. I wonder if if you do buy that and then you do flip it, if you have to disclose that a guy got his balls eaten in one of the rooms of this house when he was laying there dead or strung up dead. Horrible. That's the information. How is it that on this story from looks to be Fox 47 News in Lansing and Jackson, that the question is not raised by whoever came up with the story about the possibility of this guy being out on the street at some point in time? That's all anyone cares about. All right. And another horrible story, this one close to home here in West Michigan. This one's garnered a lot of attention. I wasn't going to talk about it, but it's kind of building up, and I as more and more attention is formulated upon it, I wanted to get into it. A lady was badly hurt in a horrible road rage incident. And a guy who is accused of body slamming her to the pavement during this road rage incident has to face the music. But his lawyer is saying that there are two sides to every story. His attorney sounds like the guy, you'll hear him, he sounds like an idiot. His name is John Beeson. And what we do know is that this guy, Eric Alvarez, did in fact put his hands on her and body slammed 23-year-old Samantha Ann Sutherland to the ground. She is she's trying to pull out of a tailspin from this severe head injury. She was comatose for extended time. I'm hearing now that she's starting to come back around, but they don't know the extent of the injuries. She has children, and this is not good. Now the attorney for this dude, Eric Alvarez, who is the one accused of body slamming the lady to the ground in this tailgating incident that happened in a part of town along what's known as Alpine Avenue in the parking lot of a Starbucks. This doesn't make any sense. This attorney is saying that the woman was the aggressor and that more will come out as it is heard before a judge and jury. But, I mean, seriously, how can you not? Did he put his hands on her or not? I don't give a shit what she did to him. He's claiming that she was the aggressor during the road rage incident and that she followed him into the Starbucks, and it was her fault that he got aggressive. I don't know about that. You be the judge. Listen to this.
The lawyer representing a man charged in a road rage case that left a mother of two critically injured says his client is being unfairly vilified.
Eric Alvarez faces 2 charges, including a 10-year felony for injuring 23-year-old Samantha Sutherland. Happened February 13th at the Starbucks on Alpine Avenue. Alvarez appeared in court today for a probable cause hearing.
13 on your side's John Hogan joins us now with more about what was said after today's hearing. John.
Well, defense attorney John Beeson says his client is not the monster he's being made out to be. Eric Alvarez had just picked up his girlfriend from the hospital and was headed home. According to Beeson, They encountered Sutherland on northbound US 131. She was tailgating, flashing her lights, and blowing her horn, Beeson says. Alvarez got onto westbound I-96. He got off at Alpine. Beeson says the two vehicles headed north before pulling into the Starbucks parking lot.
My client doesn't know other than she was tailgating him, blowing her horn, and he tried to get away from her. At that point, he was not the aggressor. He parked in front of the Starbucks, got out of his vehicle when she pulled in behind him to see why she was doing what she was doing to him, and that's when the altercation started.
Now, police say Alvarez body slammed Sutherland to the pavement. She remains hospitalized. Beeson says the truth will come out during a hearing next month. Family members of Sutherland declined comment outside of court. Alvarez, meanwhile, remains held in jail on a $500,000 bond.
Man, if I'm doing this story, if I'm John Hogan, why do you not ask the question, so are you suggesting that this woman body slammed herself onto the ground? Because if you're going out of your way to point out, oh yeah, she was the aggressor, she followed my client, it's her fault that this happened, that's not adding up at all. No one. Okay, let's just say she was blowing her horn, and she did in fact tailgate him, and she did flash her lights, and she did follow him to the Starbucks, as that moron lawyer says. And she did get out, and she did run up to him and say something nasty. If it ends there, you don't. You at that point you walk away. Now, if she lunges at you and tries to hurt you, and while you're getting away, she falls and bangs her head, is that what you're suggesting? Because that's the only thing that would make sense to line up with the other part of your story. But we all know what happened. This crazy son of a bitch did, in fact, body slam her, my opinion. And he did cause her injuries, and he should go to prison for it. And in the end, that will ultimately be found out. I'm sure people witnessed it, and I am 100% convinced that this guy, I'm just going to go out on a limb here, did, in fact, do that. We shall see. Okay, I got an update for you on a story that I covered in the Patreon, but I'll get you up to speed on it, about this baseball coach in Seminole County, Florida, which is where Orlando is, I believe, Sanford area of Florida. And it was a great story. But he lost his job in the stupidest way possible. I have an update for you on this story, so I'll get you updated on, for those who didn't hear it, who weren't on the Patreon, how I became aware of it, and I have more news about it. So I want to get to that in just a second. But as you know, key sponsor of the podcast is Horizon Hydroponics. 4 locations: Kalamazoo, Lansing, on Alpine, in Grand Rapids, probably near the Starbucks. In fact, I know it is. And at the Growers Outlet in Byron Center. 4 locations. Everything anyone would ever need, including all of the expertise to grow stuff indoors. Some of you are growing cannabis. Some of you are not. You're growing other things. That's fine. Everything you need is at Horizon Hydroponics. All the expertise, the know-how, all the products, the usual things to make sure that your grow goes perfectly, whatever you are growing inside of your home. Shop online at horizonhydroponics.com, and that's Horizen. Get it? Zen. Namaste. Horizonhydroponics.com. You can buy online and pick up at the store. You can buy online and have it delivered, or just go to the store. Talk to the great folks over there. You can go see John's great handlebar mustache. Probably the most exquisite handlebar mustache I've ever seen. Now, I know he waxes it to make it do the fun handlebar thing. But if he doesn't wax it, does it kind of look like a party favor? He is great. I love Bridget and John, and they have a number of expert staff that they employ at their 4 locations. Great local business owner. Horizon Hydroponics. Call them. 866-791-1664. 866-791-1664. Joe Martinez is about 4 gur light in the pocket because he's got a sick fixation with hockey jerseys. He is probably one of the biggest Griffins fans you'll ever find, season ticket holder. All this guy does is make sure that your heating and cooling setup is running great and watches hockey and buys jerseys. 2 in the last one. So if you want to cash in on a great deal, 15% savings for retired and active military and our beloved senior citizens when you mention the Eric Zane Show podcast. Call up Joe today, 616-516-8579. If you're a fan of the Eric Zane Show podcast, patronize the sponsors. Joe is, of course, the sponsor. Anything goes kablooey, Joe's going to help you. New furnace install, he's going to give you a humidifier for free. That's a $615 value. If you want a humidifier and you're not going to get a new furnace install, mention me. You're going to save $100 on the humidifier install, but you got to mention the show. Eric Zane Show podcast discount, 616-516-8579. Okay, I was listening to the immortal Tony Gates on his podcast. He uploads a show, and I was listening to it. I like to listen to other radio shows to hear what they're doing. As you know, I was in radio for 30 years, so the programmer side of me, I like to hear them get into the topics that they're talking, and I'm thanking him because I listened to it, and I didn't know about the story until he talked to it. Now, I had to wade through a 5-minute story when he started about how he likes to swear. I mean, I'm serious. It was, oh, God. Brevity, son. Please, you got to just get to the story. We don't need the background of swearing, okay? This is the program director coming out and talking to you directly. When you're giving the story, which is a very interesting story, we don't need to know your personal opinion about how you like to swear in some cases and not in other cases and stuff like that. It was horrible. Anyway, he does this long soliloquy about how he likes to swear and sometimes, but not other times. And then he gets to the story without playing any of the audio of the baseball coach in Florida who won the championship 8 months ago, which I'm going to play you the sound. And then he gets on the bus with the trophies, and he's like, motherfucker, we won the trophy. I'm so happy. Fuck yes. And in a 45-second speech, he swore like 7 times or something like that. So that actually happened. And, well, they ended up winning the championship 8 months later. That video surfaces because somebody recorded it. And when it surfaced, he got out in front of it and said to his boss, hey, I swore on this video. Sorry about that. He goes, oh, well, you're fired for swearing. What? There was only one person in America to say that he agreed with the firing. It was Tony. What? Nobody agreed with that. Listen to this. This is how it all went down for Coach Ken Brown.
Oh, state! Yeah!
Hold on. A little bit of background. This team sucked for 30 years. This guy, he's a stage 4 cancer survivor. He shows up, and in his first year, he saves the season. They end up going on a crazy run, and they win the state championship. And this is what he said when he got on the bus.
Oh, state! Yeah! We got this right here. No one else has it. It's ours. Yeah! You guys show you played the game. You played it right. You never panicked. You got type 1 diabetes. Yeah!
That part, you're like, what does that mean? He goes, this guy, he said his kid's name. They bleeped it out. So-and-so, he sucked it up and became our leader, even though he's got type 1 diabetes. So whatever. I mean, this is all good. You know, you're like, we must have standards. It's like, look, dude, those fucking kids have heard everything. And the bond that a coach who has the way I look at it is not to poo-poo his language. It's good that he's swearing because that solidifies the bond of this adult man with his kids who are becoming men. And fucking A, man, they just had a great year. Give the guy a pass. So this dickhead principal fires this coach who's got stage 4 cancer, and the community goes crazy. and they're pissed off. Everybody's pissed off. Everybody is outraged by this firing. He's a teacher there too. They fired him as baseball coach. He could remain on as a teacher, but they suspended him, and docked him 5 days pay, treating him like shit, ruining this great story from 8 months ago. And everyone in America is outraged except one radio guy. Well, today this news broke.
Eyewitness News broke the story over the firing of Seminole High School baseball coach Kenny Brown 2 weeks ago.
But after our stories over his ouster, along with all of that community support, the school's principal reinstated Coach Brown this morning. Channel 9 Seminole County reporter Jeff F. Coolidge is live right now for us at Seminole High School, where the team is getting ready to play tonight. And Jeff, you spoke to the coach.
He's friggin' back.
After the news was denounced, what did he tell you?
Well, Martha, Coach Kenny Brown is out on
the field. Now you're going to love this when I link it up. The reporter is out right next to where the team's warming up for the game. And as soon as they throw it to him, the stereo system right by the field starts playing Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue.
What did he tell you?
Well, Martha, Coach Kenny Brown is out on the field as we speak. He's hitting balls into the outfield, getting ready for tonight's game against Lyman. Now, Coach Brown told me he was surprised about the change of heart, but is humbled by the support he received. One parent told me whether the kids win or lose tonight's game, they've already won. Members of the Seminole High School baseball team could not hold back the hugs as Coach Kenny Brown walked back into the baseball stadium for the first time.
I could not wait to be with the guys. I really was caught off guard and never expected it to happen.
That's because Brown was out as head coach after this video surfaced online earlier this month.
We got this right here. No one else has it. It's ours.
This impassioned speech on the bus ride home after winning the state championship last year also cost him 5 days without pay.
By the way, when I heard Gates ramble on and on about it, he actually said he didn't even play the audio of the coach, which was widely available, and he didn't even point out when he was doing his thing that it happened 8 months ago.
His role as a teacher. Now, 2 weeks after Eyewitness News broke the story of his firing over the video, and thanks to more than 15,000 signatures and community support, Seminole High's principal, Dr. Jordan Rodriguez, reinstated Brown as the head coach, saying, quote, moving forward, Coach Brown has been directed to model his behavior that is in line with the high standards of Seminole County Public Schools.
That disappointed me that I failed to be a better leader for my boys and that I allowed my mouth to do it.
It's not the first time the odds have been stacked against Brown. He's a stage 4 cancer survivor.
It's a great lesson for me personally, and I hope I can pass that on to the boys. But this was my doing, and I'm thankful that I get to be with the boys again.
Players and parents were elated over his return.
Such a great feeling to have my coach that I love so much back.
Listen
we're so ecstatic. Felt like a huge weight was lifted off of me. He cares much more for the kids, infinitely more for the kids than he does winning any ball game.
Oh, I love that. Back to Motley Crue.
A couple of assistant coaches who left after Brown was fired out of loyalty. They're also back here tonight.
You hear that? The assistants quit out of loyalty. That is awesome. You know what's the greatest thing in the world? If you have a work environment and if you lose your job because of some bullshit, and then the people that you work with support you, and then they quit out of loyalty, that is a great thing. I would think that in most scenarios that would probably be what most normal thinking people would do. I can't think of any one industry or scenario where a person can be in lockstep with this crew, and then the one guy gets fired, and then the rest of the guys remain on like he's not there anymore. That would be awful.
The coach says he is ready to go. Again, they face off against Lyman High School at 6 o'clock. Reporting live from Seminole High School, Jeff Lefkool, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And hopefully they get a big win for him tonight. All right, Jeff, thanks.
Yeah, I'm being a smartass. I'm just being dumb. It's funny. That's fucking funny. Come on, don't be butthurt about that. That's funny. Funny ass shit right there. I got a pillow for Valentine's Day. It's the greatest pillow ever.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that guy got it, that it went back that way. That was just horseshit. Holy cow. Man, what I wasn't convinced that was going to happen. I'm really, really stoked that did happen, though, that he got his job back. It was bullshit. Oh, my God, so much bullshit. Okay. I think that we will have an opportunity every Wednesday to set a time record, you know? And because of Dear Meathead, the length of that segment really lends to a long, healthy, robust podcast. So, yeah, let me just end this by saying, last but certainly not the least, Terrytown RV. Though it's cold and snowy, it's not going to be long till we're getting the bug to get out and camp at whatever state park, whatever private park, wherever the road takes you. Get a travel trailer, a fifth wheel, or a motorhome from Terrytown RV. All right. Some of you are like, I just can't afford that. Okay, that's fine. Would you just go there with me and look at them? You don't have to buy anything. I'm not going to pressure you. Just go and look at it. You know what does it? The products. You go there and look at the amazing product line indoors at their indoor facility on Division between 68th Street and 76th Street. And then you look at, like, the price displays, which show you what the amount works out to each month, because this isn't like a 5-year loan. The American way, you stretch that out for months and months and months. Many months. As many as you possibly can. And then you don't even notice it. And then you're like, all right, let's Tequamanon Falls. Here we go. Pioneer Park. You got the marshmallows, the Wheaties. You got all the supplies. You got the beer. You got a bag of pot. In Michigan, you can do that. I don't do that. Some of you do. You get what I'm talking about, don't you? TerrytownRV.com. That's where you go if you're a follower of this show to shop for a camper, travel trailer, fifth wheel, motorhome, whatever, man. Pop up. Wherever the road takes you. TerrytownRV.com. Thank you to them. I'm done. I have nothing more for you. I have exhausted everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm not quite done, though. I got a Patreon bonus podcast. If you think this one is worth your time and you can get behind what I'm trying to do here on my own, well, then join me on Patreon. If you think it's worth it, or you think, shit, yeah, Zane, I think you're fucking killing it. Follow me on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Eric Zane and sign up for my Patreon bonus podcast. Starting at just $5 a month, I give you 5 extra podcasts every single week. Every day I do a freebie, I do a Patreon. More content. On days like today, I'm putting out 2.5+ of material. Okay? Some say it all sucks, but it's still there. Some of you like it. For those of you that like it, thank you. Thank you for supporting me. $5 a month. If you do go $10 a month, you get all the video podcasting as well, and I will buy you a T-shirt. Okay? That's going to do it. Talk my way out of trouble again. Thanks, folks. Eric Zane Show podcast back tomorrow. We'll talk to you down the road. Bye-bye. I got a pillow for Valentine's Day. That's the greatest pillow ever.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a good brain.
You motherfucking accuser!
Who gives a fuck?
Cool story, horrible bitch.
Watch your smelling ass and balls, you nappy motherfucker, you.
Horse-faced lesbians.